This show as a whole is pretty inconsistent, which is one of the reasons I like reviewing it so much. You get the cathartic joy of ripping some garbage episode a new one, and the equally cathartic, also joy of gushing about an episode that you absolutely adore. And, of course, there's the occasional episode that sits right in the middle, like yakety sax. Like, I mean, it's not very good. Could you imagine trying to make a full quality standalone video about that point? I mean, if I had to, I'd probably say this was a slightly better version of Pinky Pride, because this reaction was actually triggered by being compelled to stop doing something she cared about, instead of, you know, literally the opposite of that. It's still bullshit, mind you, because the message is just be passive-aggressively whiny instead of talk to your friends and try to achieve some compromise.
But we just wanted to remind you how much you mean to us, and how much we'd miss you.
Fine. I'll move back to Ponyville.
Speaking of compromises, how the fuck did the end in Friend happen? Did GM Barrow watch the Season 5 premiere?
Each of my friends has taught me something different about myself. It was their unique gifts and passions and personalities that helped bring out the magic inside of me.
Why is she trying to get Starlight to suss out how two ponies with very little in common could possibly be friends?
I don't know why I got so worried about us not having anything in common. It may seem like Rarity and Rainbow Dash don't have that much in common when you try to put it into words.
I kind of think it doesn't matter as long as we enjoy each other's company.
Season 8 was poised to knock socks. I mean, it wasn't exactly batting 1,000, but it hadn't done anything I couldn't forgive yet. Fuck, they even had another bad episode where Rainbow was at least smart enough not to ask Rarity to do sports. Hey, pro tip, they admire each other's passions in their respective field, you fucking hack. They make toothpaste for a full arc, for crying out loud. These two's friendship has exploded the entire universe multiple times. This episode is dumb. Speaking of things that are dumb, what kind of a government body would accredit a school that makes you pay? The EEA? More like the EA? More like the actual literal American education system?
And it's in Las Pegasus? Road trip!
Gallus, what road were you intending to take into this city in the clouds? Do I really have to say more? This is a Flim Flam episode where the title is as close to fuck you as S&P will let them get. Rarity is amazing, the conflict works on a micro and a macro level.
Maybe I am just upset that Star Swirl came here instead of my school.
Like, I have a couple of problems with this episode.
The only place in Equestria to give out friendship degrees.
Can't trust Flim and Flam. They tried to con the apples out of their farm.
Flim and Flam didn't try to con the apples out of shit. It was a fair bet with a legitimate product that they allowed the apples to make unfair to their detriment.
Flim, Flam, would you object to honorary family members helping?
We don't care if the whole kingdom of Canterlot helps.
And that, you know, the thing they got in trouble for was not properly disclosing how they spent their profit.
Using your students' bits to expand your resort is wrong.
And not, you know, the fucking plagiarism that Twilight was perfectly fine with.
We copied them from your book.
Ugh, fine.
Speaking of Twilight being perfectly fine with things, okay, look, guys, I'm not entirely invested in coming up with convincing segues between episodes, so just bear with me. Actually, wait, speaking of bears, how do you give us the promise of a serious student episode after the grave misstep that was non-compete clause, only to zip zop zoobity bop, it's suddenly a Discord episode, yay! This was your second attempt to give the students a bit of screen time in more than half the season, and you fucked it up. And it's entirely possible for these students to carry a good episode without forcing favorable comparisons by virtue of cluttering up the rest of the episode with the most difficult to tolerate characters. See, they nailed it in the next episode. Smolder is best student, by the way, in case you were wondering.
That's a great story, and you told it really well.
I'm not just saying that because she got important roles in 2 extra episodes this season. She stole the show in the ensemble student episodes too. My favorite part of this one is when she asked Sandbar why he didn't just take the bullet for the rest of his friends.
So, did you tell him you did it?
Because staying in Ponyville wouldn't have been as bad for him by comparison.
You already live in Ponyville. Staying here over break is no big deal.
The students spending half the episode talking about their own exposition didn't even make me question my existence. These 6 have really good chemistry. And the conclusion plays into my favorite thing about, like, every episode Griffins have been a part of, and that's the element of culture shock they all feel.
When Head Mayor Twilight threatened to cancel winter break, that meant I would get to be with all of you.
Gallus didn't really think being locked in a room full of angry, judgmental people would be so bad, because he doesn't have a frame of reference for what the holidays are to everyone else.
Families get together to eat and then complain about the food and give each other presents they don't like, and mostly just try not to yell at each other.
And he believes that spending this time with friends would be better. He just didn't know that's what everyone did anyway. Man, Griffins are awesome. Speaking of things that are awesome, On the Road to Friendship is one of the best episodes ever.
It's walking though, Atrix?
I am walking.
Wait a second, this is the exact same thing as the movie. Seriously, look, the conflict is based around the purple one forgetting she knows how to teleport. And there's a second act falling out based on a totally avoidable miscommunication. Except this is way better than the movie because it's actually about something friendship related and not, you know, the end of the fucking world. Sure, friendship is cool, but have you tried a flamethrower? I'm not exaggerating. Spike totally killed a guy. Trixie moonwalks. That should just be the entire review right there. Why is she getting all sultry on this couch? The only thing that would have made this episode better is if when this guy is like,
Perhaps you could prove your friendship.
Trixie just dipped Starlight into a huge makeout session that went all the way until the credits rolled. But then we would have missed the actual way they proved their friendship, so I don't know, even that is sort of a toss-up. And the song is outstanding. A super fun throwback to classic cinema. Oh, shut up, you're too young to remember Hope and Crosby.
We haven't any fear. Paramount will protect us 'cause we're signed for 5 more years.
I love how in the original song they're trying to put the audience at ease by saying their contract is up, but in MLP they're like, nope, we're fucked.
For untold seasons yet to come, our friendship will be here. For 9 at least.
And Starlight trudging back through the set pieces of the song without Trixie and realizing how shitty the trip really was is almost as awesome as Starlight not understanding why Trixie is so upset about having her wagon traded away.
Who said you could do that?
Trixie's in the right more than once this episode. I mean, Starlight spent her money at the falafel stand, and she really could have reserved a room while Trixie was waiting in this line. But, you know, at the same time, Starlight did agree to the trip in order to spend more time with Trixie, and you know, why does Trixie have a preference in merchant stand from a country she's never been to before?
After our falafel purchase, we weren't able to get everything on my list.
Couldn't they have gone back to that merchant to buy more supplies with the money they saved?
Roll full.
Because they couldn't get a room? Shouldn't they have just slept in the same hammock? So yeah, this episode's not perfect, but god damn it if it's still not fucking great. Thanks for watching to the end. Now all of you go pledge on Patreon for all of the sweet, juicy Season 9 content I'm gonna do. Subscribe to my main channel if you haven't already.